In the heart of the ancient Mali Empire, under the blistering sun of West Africa, the vast savannah was about to become the stage for a battle that would change the course of history. It was the early 13th century, and the kingdom of Soso, ruled by the fearsome king Soumaoro Kanté, had risen to power through conquest and terror. His iron fist had crushed many kingdoms, and now he had his sights set on a small kingdom within Mali, called Mandinka. The Mandinka people were suffering under the oppressive rule of the Soso. Their rightful king, Near Maghan Konate, had died, leaving his son, Sundiata Keita, to inherit a fractured and fearful kingdom. Sundiata was not initially considered a threat to Soumaoro Kanté. As a child, he was crippled and could not walk. But as time passed, Sundiata's strength grew, and he became known not just for his physical prowess but also for his wisdom and charisma. Legends whispered that he was destined to free his people and unite the tribes of Mali. Sundiata, now a young man with a powerful frame and deep, piercing eyes, knew the time had come to fulfill his destiny. He had spent years gathering support from various clans and building alliances with neighboring kingdoms that had also suffered under Soso's rule. His journey took him far and wide across the lands of West Africa, where he forged bonds with the kings of Mima, Ouagadougou, and other small kingdoms. Together, they formed a coalition, united by their shared hatred for Soumaoro Kanté. As Sundiata's forces grew, so did Soumaoro's rage. He knew that a battle was inevitable. The two armies would clash in the plains of Kirina, a small but strategically important location in modern-day Guinea. The day before the battle, Sundiata gathered his generals in his tent. The air inside was thick with tension and the smell of burning incense. Maps lay spread across a large wooden table, with markers indicating the positions of their troops. The generals, seasoned warriors with scars from previous battles, leaned in as Sundiata spoke. "We fight not just for ourselves, but for the future of our children and the freedom of our people," Sundiata began, his voice calm yet firm. "Soumaoro Kanté believes he is invincible, but today, we show him the strength of unity and justice." One of the generals, an elder named Folktale, spoke up. "The Soso army is vast, and their sorcery is powerful. Soumaoro's griots speak of his invincibility, that no weapon forged by man can kill him." Sundiata, with a confident smile, replied, "No weapon forged by man, perhaps, but even the most powerful sorcerer has a weakness. Soumaoro's arrogance blinds him. We will exploit that weakness." The morning of the battle arrived, and the plains of Kirina buzzed with the sounds of preparation. Sundiata's army, though smaller in number, was disciplined and well prepared. The coalition forces had trained together for weeks, mastering formations and strategies that would counter the Soso's sheer might. Sundiata himself donned a white tunic, symbolizing purity and the righteousness of their cause. He mounted his horse, a majestic black stallion, and rode out to address his troops. "Brothers and sisters," Sundiata called out, his voice carrying across the ranks, "today, we fight for the Mandinka, for all those who have suffered under the tyranny of Soso. We fight for freedom, for honor, and for our future. Let the spirits of our ancestors guide our swords and protect us in battle." As Sundiata spoke, the soldiers cheered, their spirits lifted by his words. The sun rose higher in the sky, casting long shadows over the battlefield. Then, the ground began to shake as Soumaoro Kanté's army approached. Thousands of warriors, clad in dark armor, marched in perfect unison. At their head rode Soumaoro, a towering figure on a massive war horse. His armor was adorned with talismans and charms, evidence of his dark sorcery. The two armies faced each other, the tension so thick it could be cut with a knife. Sundiata raised his hand, signaling his warriors to hold their ground. Soumaoro's army halted, and for a moment, there was a deafening silence. Then, with a thunderous roar, Soumaoro's forces charged. The battle began in a whirlwind of dust, blood, and steel. Swords clashed, arrows flew, and the cries of warriors filled the air. Sundiata's forces fought with ferocity and discipline, holding the line against the overwhelming numbers of Soso soldiers. Sundiata himself was at the forefront, his sword flashing as he cut down enemy after enemy. But Soumaoro Kanté was no ordinary opponent. His magic was potent, and his presence on the battlefield struck fear into the hearts of even the bravest warriors. Wherever he rode, the Soso forces pushed forward, threatening to break the Mandinka lines. As the battle raged on, Sundiata knew he had to confront Soumaoro directly. With a shout to his warriors, he charged towards the Soso king, cutting a path through the enemy ranks. Soumaoro, seeing Sundiata approach, turned his war horse to face him. The two leaders locked eyes, and for a moment, time seemed to stand still. Soumaoro sneered, "You think you can defeat me, crippled child? I am invincible." But Sundiata was unfazed. He raised a special spear, one forged not by man, but by the spirits. It had been given to him by the blacksmith Ferikuru, who had crafted it with the blessings of the gods. The spear had glinted in the sunlight, and with a mighty throw, Sundiata hurled it at Soumaoro. The spear flew through the air with unerring accuracy, and as it struck Soumaoro, his invincibility shattered. The Soso king let out a scream of rage and pain, realizing too late that his end had come. The sorcery that had protected him for so long was undone, and with it, the morale of his army crumbled. Seeing their leader fall, the Soso soldiers faltered. Sundiata's forces, emboldened by their king's victory, pressed the attack. The Soso army, once thought unstoppable, was routed, and the battlefield was littered with the fallen. As the sun set over Kirina, the dust settled, and the cries of the dying faded into the distance. Sundiata stood victorious, his people's liberation secured. The Battle of Kirina marked the end of Soso's tyranny and the beginning of the Mali Empire. Sundiata Keita would go on to unite the various kingdoms of West Africa, founding one of the greatest empires in African history. Years later, griots would sing of the bravery of Sundiata and the Battle of Kirina, a tale passed down through generations, reminding all who heard it of the power of unity, the importance of justice, and the destiny of a true leader. This story encapsulates the legendary Battle of Kirina, where Sundiata Keita, the founder of the Mali Empire, overcame Soumaoro Kanté, securing his place in history as a great leader and unifier.